All right, at number 13, folks, we have what was basically the beginning, I guess you could say, in the 40s, if you will, of the variety film by Disney, or the compilation film by Disney, and that is Fun and Fancy Free. This actually consists of 3 films, believe it or not. It does. It actually consists of 3 films. I think it consists of 3 films. I'm not really sure. Maybe 2. 2 main stories, though. Let's just say it consists of 2 main stories. And it's got some interaction. Basically, the film itself is hosted overall by Jiminy Cricket, fresh off his role in Pinocchio. And he hosts this story, if you will, of several of 2 main stories that are in this film. Now, what's funny about Fun and Fancy Free, folks, is that according to the special features that you watch on the DVD, the 2 main animated features here, or featurettes, were originally planned to be animated features themselves. Bongo, of course, was supposed to be an animated feature on its own, as well as Mickey and the Beanstalk. But unfortunately, that did not occur. Instead, due to economic reasonings, I guess, and some other personal situations, again, you'll have to watch the special features to see what I'm talking about. They basically had to put them together as a compilation film. And again, this began sort of a trend for the next 2 years. Now, I'm not saying that this was the beginning of it. I mean, Fantasia, of course, was indeed the beginning of the compilations. But this is basically where you didn't have, short musical sequences rolling into one after the other. No. Instead, you had 2 separate stories, 2 main separate stories. Now, the first story was Bongo, which I personally like. Basically, Bongo is getting sick and tired of his life in the circus. Basically, he's a circus bear, and he's getting sick and tired of it. And he wants to be wild and free. So, basically, one night, or something like that, on a train ride down to the next tour stop, Bongo is able to escape. And he escapes into the woods, finally, to be free. While he's in the woods, he bumps into a new character by the name of Lulu, a female bear about his size, called Lulubelle. And right off the bat, it's like an instant attraction and instant love. There is one particular scene during the film that I actually like because it's kind of cute. It's during the musical accompaniment by, I can't think of what her name is right now. Her name's Donna something. I can't really think of it. But basically, this one little scene during the musical romance, if you will, basically the centering and basically the growing of the romance between Bongo and Lulubelle. There's one little scene in there where you have Bongo and Lulubelle, and it basically get covered by snow and turned into little snow bears. It's almost like if you wanted to take that scene, do a screenshot of that one scene, make it into an ornament, and there you go. It's on your tree for Christmas. But it's a cute little scene there. So it was pretty cool to see that happen. And especially I like how the characters' designs kind of changed. I mean, they got covered by snow and everything, but take a look at what happens to the eyes. I mean, look at what happens to the eyes, guys. I mean, everybody. The eyes go from having like the whiteness in the background and the black pupil to just having the black pupil. But anyway, overall, again, like I said, it was a cute scene. It was very good musical accompaniment to tell the love development and growth between Bongo and Lulubelle. What was unique about this is also how they kind of told the story, I guess, through their own ways of how bears proclaim their love for each other. Basically, bears beat the living you-know-what out of each other by slapping each other. Well, they don't beat the living you-know-what. They basically slap each other in the face. Now, of course, Bongo, being a circus and sort of a city bear, doesn't know about this until later on. And of course, just like with any Disney feature, or in this case featurette, he has to fight off a villain. And this villain is a big bear that thinks because Lulubelle slaps him in the face, not out of love, but out of anger for picking on Bongo, this big bear thinks Lulubelle's in love with him. And of course, again, like I said, this leads to a final climax between Bongo and this bear. But in the end, Bongo and Lulubelle do end up getting together in the end, which is kind of cute. And then, of course, we come to the most famous out of the two, and that is Mickey and the Beanstalk. This, again, just like Bongo, if you watch the special features, was supposed to be made into its own feature film. Unfortunately, again, due to certain reasonings, financial, whatever you want to call it, they had to shorten it and make it part of Fun and Fancy Free. I thought it was kind of funny because not only did it bring Mickey and Donald and Goofy into a feature film-like environment together for the first time, but it also introduced us to Willie the Giant, who ended up becoming one of the most popular Disney characters of all time. So overall, Fun and Fancy Free is a good DVD. It's a good little Disney movie. It has some, great music to it for the time it was made. It actually has an appearance by Edgar Bergen and those two puppets, if you will, marionettes, if you will, ventriloquist marionettes, if you will. So that was kind of cool as well. That was kind of cool. But like I said, overall, it's a decent little decent little Disney animated movie. And basically something if you wanted to watch to buy the time, like let's say on a long trip or something like that, put it in your portable DVD player or something. So, yeah. Number 13, definitely Fun and Fancy Free belongs in the slot. Like I said, it's a decent Disney film, but not as good as some people say it is. I mean, it is good. It is good, but not as it's just basically an animated. Basically, it's just an extension of animated shorts. Let's just put it that way. But it is a fun little DVD, fun little Disney movie. You'll get a kick out of it. So, number 13, Fun and Fancy Free. Hello. Welcome to number 12 on this countdown. And at number 12, we have the 1995 released A Goofy Movie. And that's right, 1995, A Goofy Movie was released in the spring of that year. Now, originally, A Goofy Movie was supposed to be released, according to several sources, like Wikipedia and I guess a few others, in the holiday of 1994. Unfortunately, due to the animation studio in France, I guess, falling behind a little bit, that did not happen, and they had to reissue another movie that came out in 94 in its place. Now, what can I say about A Goofy Movie, besides the fact that it's obviously based off Goof Troop? That's right, this movie is actually based off Goof Troop. The only difference is it doesn't bear the Goof Troop name. Instead, it's a Goofy Movie. Now, according to several sources that I've read online, and you could take this if you want to or not, believe this if you want to or not, but according to several sources, the reason it didn't bear the Goof Troop name at all, or show any kind of resemblance or hints towards Goof Troop, or influenced by Goof Troop, was due to the fact that they didn't want to make the same mistake, or didn't want to suffer the same criticism that they suffered back in 1990 with DuckTales. So, Goofy Movie was essentially, according to several sources, a spin-off, if not a sequel, a direct sequel to the television series, basically taking place a couple of years later. Now, what's the plot of the movie? Well, basically the plot is this. Max is 15 years old. He's at this age right now, and he's at the age, well, not only is he into rock music, rock and pop and rap music and all that, and being his own, and basically having his own life, but he also has this crush on this girl in his class, and her name's Roxanne. Now, Max is so infatuated with this girl and so determined to get this girl that he goes to big, huge lengths, if you will, to get her. Now, what's funny about this is after the first musical number ends, which is the first musical number in the film ends, which is called After Today, he falls down the bleachers, and who helps him up? None other than Roxanne, the girl he's trying to be with. Now, what's funny about this is we kind of get the idea that Roxanne is almost like him in some ways. She's kind of goofy at times, but is the kind of person that nobody takes seriously and would probably pick on, if you will. So what does Max do? Well, first of all, after she helps him up, of course, Max runs away, embarrassed by the fact that he accidentally let out the yuck laugh, which we find out later on she likes. Now, like I said, Max goes to huge lengths, if you will, to get Roxanne to be his girl. He first starts out with the help of PJ and a friend, obviously introduced in this movie called Bobby. They help him basically put on a power line-like concert during an assembly. Unfortunately, this gets Max and his friends in trouble with the principal, and the principal kind of overreacts a little bit when he calls Goofy up and tells him what happens. Basically telling Goofy if he doesn't keep an eye on his son or doesn't discipline his son, Max is going to end up in an electric chair, and thus he hangs up. Quite honestly, folks, this is the kind of principal, Max's principal in this film, school principal in this film, I will say this. He's the kind of principal that you really know is a dick. All he cares about is himself. He watching his own ass. But anyway, because of this, because Goofy hears this from the principal, Goofy gets concerned that this might all become a reality and decides to take Max on a fishing trip, not to a local fishing hole, not to a local lake within town limit. No, he decides to take Max across the country to a lake in Idaho called Lake Destiny, Idaho, to go fishing. Max, of course, is not too happy about this. And basically what happens is Max reroutes the map from Idaho to Los Angeles. Now, of course, this does create conflict with his dad, but in typical Disney fashion, it's resolved, and basically Max is finally able to let his dad know why he had to do what he had to do and why he did what he did at high school. So overall, basically, Goofy does help Max keep a promise he made to Roxanne, and that promise was to get on stage with Powerline during Powerline's big concert in in Los Angeles, which was being broadcast on pay-per-view, which Roxanne's best friend Stacy was showing at her house. So basically, Max does fulfill this promise, but then later on does admit to Roxanne that he made up the fabrication. He had basically made up the fact that Max's dad and Powerline knew each other and all that, only to find out that Roxanne didn't care about that at all, that she actually liked him right off the bat, especially with the yuck laugh. So overall, I have to say that this was probably one of the better adaptions, or semi-adaptions, if you will, of a Disney film based on a Disney animated series. If you have not seen it yet, you should. It's out on DVD. Hopefully you could try to find it or not. But I guarantee you, once you watch it, you will like it. And that's why Goofy Movie is number 12 on this countdown.